Hi, friends. It is Kristen, the dietitian, coming to you from the Kaiser Permanente Learning Kitchen at the Atlanta Community Food Bank. You might notice that my voice is not aligned with my mouth here. We are doing a voiceover on our video today because we did not record our audio. So, hope you will bear with us and stick with us through this episode. So today I'm going to be talking about 3 clever snacks that you can prepare with cereal. So we're going to be expecting plain cornflakes and bran flakes in the warehouse over the next month, and that will be in our TFAP program partners. So I've got 3 dishes for you, 2 savory and 1 sweet. So if you have ever had fried squash, it's a true Southern staple. Today we're going to make an oven-baked version using cornflakes as our crust. So I've made a combination of yellow squash and zucchini because they are very similar vegetables. So I've got my big clear bowl here. This is where my chopped vegetables are going to go. And then I've got my cornflakes in a small shallow pan so we can dip our squash in it very easily. Perfect. There we are. So let's scoot this over so we can get our squash cut up. Front and center. All right, here is our green zucchini. All we're going to do is we're going to chop off the top where the stem is and the bottom just a little bit to get a flat edge. Now, if you've ever made fried squash before, you know that the thickness of the squash is really important to the texture after it has been cooked. So for this dish, we're going to look at a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch max cut. So we don't want it to be too thick or it might be a little mushy in the middle. And if it's too thin, it might fall apart in the middle, but be extra crispy. So that 1/4 inch is going to be a great in-between size. So we're going to try to cut them up evenly so they're going to cook at the same time. And like I said, you can combine yellow squash and zucchini for this dish. All right, so there is our squash. And here's the size. So now you can see that my slices aren't exactly the same, and that's fine because we're home cooks and we're just feeding our families, so it does not have to be perfect. So we're going to put our cut squash, our cut zucchini in the big glass bowl. And then we're going to shift over here and start putting together our crust for the squash. So I've got about 1 cup of plain cornflakes here in my pie dish or my cake pan. And I'm going to use the back of my measuring cup to mash the cornflakes into small pieces. So I learned that the smaller the pieces are, the better they're going to stick to the squash. So we're going to mash around and get all of these pieces nice and fine. You can also put your cornflakes in a zip bag and you can pass them over to your kiddo and let them mash it through the bag. That'd be a great way to get them involved in the food prep and interested in the kitchen. We're going to shake the dish a little bit and get the bigger pieces that are right on the edges, make sure they get nice and mashed up as well. So we're going to just save our little Ziploc bag and do it like this. So why add more plastic to the trash? Okay, that looks good. So to our cut squash, I'm going to add just a little bit of vegetable oil to wet the squash so the coating will stick to it. So now making fried squash, you might traditionally use like an egg wash or like egg mixed with milk, and you would dip it in there before you add it to the to your flour, your seasoned flour. We're going to use oil today because we're going to bake these in the oven. So the oil is going to help them get crispy and also help the coating stick to the squash. So these are all nice and coated. You see them moving around really freely in the bowl. So now to our cornflakes, we're going to add about 1/3 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese. And we're going to add some seasonings. Now this is where you can get really creative in the way that you like flavors. So I'm going to use a classic garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of black pepper, and just a small amount of salt. So our Parmesan cheese is a salty cheese. So we're going to get a lot of salt flavor from the cheese itself. So be a little light-handed on any extra salt that you might add. I only added 1/8 of a teaspoon. So we're going to get all of this topping mixed up, all the cheese and seasonings really thoroughly mixed into the cornflakes. Beautiful. That is how it should look. Now we're going to take our foil lined pan and get our squash nice and coated. I'm a huge fan of using foil on my pan so I have less to clean up later. Now I do recommend getting a nice light coat of cooking spray on your foil because it is possible that your squash will stick to it. Now I did notice that the squash that weren't coated as much stuck to the pan more than the ones that were coated very well. So you will learn after you make your first batch which ones are coated and which ones aren't as coated because it will stick or not stick. And then you'll learn from it. And then the next time you'll do it better because we're just home cooks feeding our families. Okay, so I'm just going to use my hands here. I'm going to grab a couple slices and then I'm just going to grab these excess crumbs around them and I'm going to mash them onto the zucchini. So I'm using zucchini and squash interchangeably because you can use both zucchini and yellow squash, and they are both types of squash. So when we mash this in, it helps it to stick to the squash. Pat, pat, pat. Okay, great. So we're going to take them and put them on our foil-lined pan. So this dish uses 2 squash or 2 zucchini and 1 cup of cornflakes. So you know your ratio of cornflakes to squash. So you can combine the two like I did. I'll show you my combo in just a minute. But yes, so you can combine your zucchini and yellow squash to get like 2 colors, similar textures, and similar flavors. So we're just going to go through all these and get them nice and coated with the cornflake mix. So you may have noticed that I did not talk about adding any salt to the squash itself. So this type of squash is going to have a lot of water content. So if you salt the squash, it could make them be soggy before they get into the oven because the water will be pulled out of it. So we're going to place our coated squash in a 450-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes. You can flip them halfway if you like to. On my first batch today, I did not flip them, and they got nice and dark and extra crispy on the bottom. Some people might call it burnt. I call it delicious. So up to you. Flip it, don't flip it, but get a nice crispy squash outcome. Okay, let's move all this stuff out the way here. And then, ta-da, here's the final product of our zucchini and squash. These are beautifully brown and crispy and just delicious. It's so good. Fried squash was a huge part of my childhood, and this dish is so nostalgic to me. I hope you'll try baking it in the oven at a high temperature to save some extra fat and save some calories and still get a really delicious product. This is going to be a great snack with your favorite dipping sauce, or serve it as a side dish for any summer meal. Now, these are, I may have said this already, they are really good fresh, but they don't always reheat well. So keep that in mind. And then you can also prepare these in the air fryer at 400 degrees for 6 minutes on one side, flip it, 6 minutes on the other. Okay, so let's get cleared out, and then we're going to move along to our second savory dish, cornflake nachos. So hear me out. Cornflakes are made out of corn, so are tortilla chips. So it is an easy replacement to use cornflakes instead of tortilla chips. And if I say so myself, the texture and the even distribution of cheese on these cornflake nachos is so different and better, honestly, than tortilla chips. So here we go. I've got about 1 2/3 cup of plain cornflakes and about 1/4 cup of shredded cheese. You can choose some like additional toppings that you might like on your nachos. So I've got some heated refried beans here. I added just a little bit of water to make it dippable. So you can have like a little bean dip side for some extra protein for your snack. And then I've got some jarred salsa. So you could use fresh salsa if you like. So the key here is going to be our layers. And what's great about this is you don't need to use too much cheese or it will make your cornflakes soggy. So that's actually really great for you because you need less cheese, and the 1/4 cup of cheese is a pretty decent portion size. Okay, so we're going to take about half of these cornflakes and spread them out evenly on the bottom of the plate. This plate is microwave safe. Okay, then we're going to take about half the cheese and do the same. We're going to sprinkle it evenly across all the cornflakes. Now it's really hard to get evenly distributed cheese on nachos unless you like lay them out separately perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and put the second layer of cornflakes here on top. I'm just going to leave out this little bit here because it looks even to me. I don't want to add too much. Let's scoot it all in there and take the rest of our cheese and put it on top. I'm using a Mexican cheese blend it's like a store brand of a grocery store. You can use any shredded cheese that you like. This is how it should look. Now let's go pop it in the microwave. So the recipe that I found here, they say that the perfect amount of time in the microwave is 44 seconds. So we all know that everyone's microwave is going to function differently. You might need a little less time. You might need a little bit more. So let's start with 30 seconds and check to see if the cheese is melted, because that's all you're looking for is melted, fully melted cheese. So let's go see. It's looking nice and steamy, but it needs just about 10 seconds more here, and then that cheese will be nice and melted. All right. And here we are. Here's the final product for our cornflake nachos that came together so quickly. And honestly, it smells like a movie theater. You know, movie theater nachos where they give you the cheese sauce and the little plastic tray with the tortilla chips. That's what it smells like. I definitely recommend letting this cool for a couple minutes because there's nothing worse than burning your mouth on hot cheese. But I really want to dive in here because it smells so good. Now, you can choose to dollop your toppings on top here, or you can just scoop. So I think I would prefer to scoop here because I want maximum crispiness with my corn chips, my cornflakes. Goodness. Yum, it just smells so good. I just want to dig in. Okay, thank you, Joy, for bringing me some utensils so I can taste. All right, so I'm going to use my spoon here, and I'm just going to scoop some out since it's still hot. Look at this solid piece. That is beautiful. That is how you know it's going to be really great for dipping because you can pick out nice big chunks of it and grab the toppings that you like. So I'm just going to take a little bite here. Whoops. Yum. That is so good. I'm not shocked, but I'm a little bit shocked at how delicious this is. So you don't have to go out and buy some tortilla chips. If you have a hankering for nachos and you've got some plain cornflakes, toss it together with some shredded cheese and your favorite toppings, or leave the toppings off. This is really fun. I hope you will try it at home. Okay, so let's move on to the next dish, which is going to be our sweet snack using plain cornflakes. Now, I haven't said it here, but you can use bran flakes in place of cornflakes in all of these recipes. Okay, last but not least, we are going to make crunchy banana pops. So we've got two options that I'm going to show you to make banana pops and some different ways that you can make your own popsicle sticks. Here is our baking sheet lined with foil so we don't have to wash it up. This is going to go straight into the freezer. And here's our two cereal toppings. I've got plain cornflakes and I've got some crushed Fruit Loops here, some fruity cereal. So you can also use other fruity cereal options. I'm drawing a blank right now on the name of it. So whatever fruity cereal option you have. So we're going to mash it up just like we did with the cornflakes earlier using the back of the measuring cup. And let's go grab our other ingredients. All right, so for our fruity cereal option, we're going to use a strawberry Greek yogurt. So this is the fruit on the bottom type. So I just stirred it all in. It's got some small strawberry bits in there. It's going to be really great with the banana. This is honestly my perfect favorite banana. It's got brown spots, but it's still firm, so it's going to have a nice sweet flavor. So we're just going to peel these up. We're going to peel both the bananas and get all the strings off. We've got a little bit of a brown spot here, no problem. This banana is still perfectly fine to work with and to eat. We're just going to pull that little brown spot off. So let's cut them in half. And this is going to be the shape, the size of your banana pop. So I don't know about you, but I do not keep popsicle sticks at my house. So if you do, great. If you don't, you can use other kitchen items to make a popsicle stick. So I like to use these tiny little tasting spoons in place of a popsicle stick. You can also use a regular size plastic utensil, or you could just use like a regular spoon. This makes a great handle for adding all of your coating and toppings, and then also makes it really easy to eat. Perfect. You just want to make sure that you don't push the popsicle stick or the spoon too far into the banana so you don't split it open, because you won't be able to hold it then. Okay, so we're just going to dip and hold the handle, the little spoon, and we're going to spread the strawberry yogurt over the whole banana. Now, don't forget to cover that cut end where the popsicle stick is. And then when you're ready to pick it up, it might be a little bit heavy. So you want to make sure you give it a little bit of support with your spatula as you lift it up. And then you're going to kind of rake off any excess you got on there, because remember, this is going to go in the freezer and you want all of it to freeze all the way through. We're going to scoop our crushed cereal onto the outside of our yogurt covered banana. And you want to get all of those open spots so it's all covered in cereal. There it is. Going to go in the freezer. Now let's look at our second coating option for our banana pops. So if you're dairy-free, you can use a plant-based yogurt. And then also, if you have a nut allergy, I would recommend going the dairy route or the plant-based yogurt route. So I'm going to use peanut butter here. You can use any of your favorite nut butter options, whatever you have available. And so we're going to take our banana. We're going to do the same thing. The peanut butter is going to be a little bit heavier than the yogurt. So we're going to get it all nice and coated. It's a little extra stickier too. Don't forget to coat that top part next to your popsicle stick, and then give it a little support to scoop it out. There we go. And then get that extra peanut butter off of there. You just want it to have a light coating. That looks great. And we're going to put it in our cornflakes and top it off, flip it over, coat the other side, make sure all the peanut butter is covered up. Perfect. Now we're going to put this over in the freezer. And we're going to move this out of the way so we can show you what the final product looks like. I'm so excited to show you. These are really fun. Ta-da! Okay, so these are your final products. These have been in the freezer for a couple of hours. It's so colorful and flavorful. So you do want to make sure that you freeze these all the way through until they're firm. So bananas can get a little mushy if they are thawed out or partially frozen. You see how it's kind of soft still? It's not completely done, but we're still going to taste it. Delicious flavor combo. So the strawberry yogurt goes so well with the banana. If you love a strawberry banana flavor, this is a great choice for you. Now you can see where I use the big spoon and the little spoon, and then I was playing around and I use a big chopstick situation to make a barbell. I thought this was really funny, but it's a little not strong enough to hold this up. But hey, get creative with it. So I hope you will try one of these 3 fun snacks to use cornflakes or bran flakes. So you can find the recipes from this episode and many more resources at this QR code. So you're just going to aim your phone at the screen and tap the little code that pops up. And then you're going to look in the videos folder and look for episode 61. So we are going to be back in 2 weeks for another episode. Thank you so much for your patience with the voiceover. We promise we'll have proper audio in the next episode. See ya.